If you're making over $200,000 a year, I think you're looking at the wrong threat. Everyone is really worried about the tax hike. I'm worried about something that is much, much bigger. Something that could hit your paycheck, your bonuses, your stock options, and your portfolio all at once. And no one is talking about it. Let's start with the story that everyone has already heard. At the end of 2026, a huge chunk of tax cuts and the Job Act, which is the TCJA, was set to expire. For years, this was considered as a big, scary deadline on every employee's paycheck. Instead, a deal was passed that made many of these cuts permanent. The top income tax rate, for example, remained at 37% instead of jumping back to the 39.6%. The standard deductions were even boosted. While this all sounds very good news, a potential tax disaster was actually averted. But by focusing on taxes only is like watching the lightning and completely ignoring the hurricane that is forming offshore. The tax law changes were a trigger, but they were not the main event. The real danger, which is the first dominoes that I believe has now fallen, is much closer to home. This brings me to my prediction, which is a forecast I call as equity squeeze. I'm talking about the restricted stock units, which is the RSUs, your stock options, and your year-end bonuses. For a huge number of 6 to 7 figure professionals, it is a core part of your expected income. It's what you count on for the down payments for your house, a college funds, a lifestyle that you have built for yourself. So why is this part of the paycheck the most vulnerable? Well, because as the economy tightens, the variable pay is the easiest lever for the companies to pull and cut back on. We've already seen the signs of salary budget growth starting to slow down. It's far easier for the company to reduce the bonus pool that was never guaranteed as the market value of stock goes down. That just causes way less chaos internally to manage from HR perspective. And we're already seeing that at the highest levels. For top executives, the performance-based equity already make up a huge portion of their total pay, sometimes even as high as 60%. So when the financial environment gets tougher, the at-risk pay becomes the first shock absorber. Imagine your total compensation as like a pie chart. The slice for your bonus and RSUs, they're the first one to go red. That's the squeeze I'm talking about. And remember, when your RSU vests in 2026, they're taxed as an ordinary income. So if those taxes go up, the stock price goes down, you're going to get hit from both sides. It is a breakdown in the wealth creation model that so many high earners now rely on. And that is much more bigger and more immediate threat than a couple of points on your marginal tax rate, which we all continue to worry about. To make this real, I want you to think about your financial risk using an illustrative model, which is a 70-30 framework. Now, imagine your total financial risk is 100%. In my view, only about 30% of that risk comes from the outside world, the macroeconomic factors like the 2026 tax changes. That's the trigger. The other 70% is the real danger, and that's internal. It is a trap that you have set for yourself, and you might not even see the jaws and recognize it. It's your personal financial structure. So let's break down that 70%. Which is made of three fragile layers. First is the high fixed cost fragility. That is the classic high earner trap. As your income goes up, so does your fixed bill. The bigger house with the jumbo mortgage, the private school tuition, probably some of the luxury cars and homes. These things, they create enormous cash flow pressure. Your monthly outflow is so high that it depends not only just your base compensation and salary, but it's the assumption that your bonuses, your stock grants will continue to keep rolling at the peak level. So when the equity squeeze hits, that assumption completely shatters. The second is the compensation concentration. So how much of your net worth is tied to your employer stocks? So for too many professionals, the answer is a scary high number. You let your RSUs pile up. You never sell it without a real diversification plan. That creates a single point of failure. Now your entire net worth is tied up to the company's performance, the same company that is signing your paycheck. If there's a downturn, you could lose your job and watch your life saving in that RSU torch at the exact same time. The third is the replacement gap. A high income job is not like a minimum wage job that you can replace. Like for a director and VP professional, you're not just looking for a job, you're looking for a specific seat on a specific table. The seat disappears first in a reset. So finding a similar role, it can take like 6 months or 9 months. Like from one of my friends, it took 12 months to file him the role. The longer the gap can be devastating to your financial house that you built on a solid ground. It can turn temporary job loss into a full-blown crisis. The tax charges is just a small spark. The real damage is a self-inflicted that you built over years when the times were good. Okay, now we have laid out the prediction and the real risk. Let's talk about what you can do about it. Now, if you're finding this breakdown useful for thinking about your financial future, click on that subscribe button. I put new videos every week with the insights like this designed for high income earners who want to stay ahead of the curve. Protecting yourself from equity squeeze is about being strategic starting right now. So here's a 4-part playbook. First, stress test your budget. Now, this is not negotiable. Sit down and add all of your fixed monthly expenses, like mortgage, your car payments, insurance, tuition, everything that you have to pay. Now, compare that number to your net take-home pay from only your base salary. Now, forget your bonuses, forget the RSUs, pretend that they don't exist. Can you cover that cost from your net pay? Now, if the answer is no, you have just found your biggest vulnerability. Your number one goal is to build a cash reserve that can cover the gap for at least 6 to 12 months. Second, de-risk and diversify your compensation. So stop treating your company stock like a saving account. It's a lottery ticket that you have already won. Cash it in immediately. As your RSUs vest, you have a systematic plan to sell a huge chunk immediately. Yes, I know that you're going to end up paying taxes, but you're going to be turning a volatile, concentrated paper wealth into a durable, diversified, liquid cash. The goal is not to time the market. It is to eliminate the massive single point of failure in your financial life. Third, reevaluate major financial commitment. Look at that fixed cost structure you just identified. Is it now the good time to take more fixed debt? For example, like to buy a vacation home? Based on the forecast, I would argue for extreme caution. Use your cash bonus not for another lifestyle upgrade, but to aggressively pay down your debt. Kill that car loan, pay extra on your mortgage, lower your monthly fixed costs, the more resilient you become. You can handle an income shock that would break your peers because of these step changes. Fourth, supercharge your tax advantage accounts. While taxes are not the first domino, they're still pretty big deal. So if you have a high deductible health plan, the HSA, which is the health saving account, is a triple tax advantage superpower at the federal level. Contributions are completely deductible and it grows tax-free. And the withdrawals from medical expenses are also tax-free. Now, in few states like California, New Jersey, they have different set of rules, so make sure you follow your state rules. Max out your 401k, especially if you get a company match. Look at the strategies like backdoor IRA to get more money in the tax-free account, especially given the possibility of future legislative changes. Well, let's put this to practice. Now, imagine there are two people, both are making $400,000 a year in total compensation. First, you have a high earner A, which is lifestyle lock. They live on every penny. They have a massive mortgage. They have 2 car leases, and they count on a $100,000 bonus to make that budget work. The unvested RSUs are spent on a kitchen remodel. So when 2026 rolls out and the equity squeeze hits, the bonus gets chopped to $30,000 and the company stock falls 40%. Now they are in real cash flow crisis. They're forced to sell the assets. Now meet the earner B, which is, I will call that as a strategist. They choose to live on entirely only their $300,000 base salary. Now it's still an amazing lifestyle, but it's very disciplined. Every year, the $100,000 bonus is split. Half of it goes to maximizing the retirement account and paying down the mortgage. The other half goes to a diversified brokerage account. When the RSUs vest, they sell 75% on the spot. They pay the taxes, and when the equity squeeze hits, they're less annoyed because it's not a crisis. Their lifestyle is untouched because it was never built on that at-risk pay. They have cash, low debt, and they have multiple options. They can ride out this storm easily. Which one would you rather be? So the conversation around 2026 is stuck on tax rates, which is distracting everyone from real and present danger. The first domino to fall for a high-income earner it's not going to be from a letter from IRS. It's going to be from notification on your E-Trade or Schwab account showing you how much lower value, or a memo from HR announcing a smaller bonus pool. The equity squeeze is my forecast, my option based on the trends that I'm seeing in the market right now. But the strategy to prepare for it is just smart financial planning by building the foundation so that it doesn't matter if the stock market goes, what your company does. Don't get caught watching the wrong domino. Take control of the 70% that you actually can influence and control, which is your spending, your savings, and your financial structure and strategy. That is how you will not only survive the reset, but come out as stronger on the other side. So what are your 2026 financial worries? The biggest one, tell me. Let's talk about it in the comment below. And don't forget to subscribe for more strategies on building and protecting your wealth.